This is another Disney podcast production.
Hey everyone, welcome to Plan for the Magic. I am so glad you're back. Thank you for listening. We are on episode 9, I believe. This, of course, is a podcast to help you plan or wing your next Walt Disney World vacation. I am Audrey. I'm here with my friend, co-host Dave. How are you doing tonight,
Good.
Dave?
How's everyone in the Breen household?
Oh, man, we're good. It's summertime. Lots of pools.
Nice.
You know, hiking the trails in the mountains. How's the beach?
It was great. Haven't been this weekend, but
Oh, yeah?
we went last week. I got to go by myself for a few hours.
Oh, stop. Oh, my goodness.
My gosh. Luckiest
My cat.
man in the world. But I did take one kid with me on Sunday, so we had a good time.
Oh, good. There you go.
Yeah.
Even Stevens.
Fun stuff.
All right. Speaking of summertime, I would like for us to go back before we turn toward the fall and sort of our next Disney trips. I want to circle back to mine in particular, the one that we took this summer, and talk a little bit about the places where we stayed.
Excellent.
Couple episodes ago, I did sort of an overhaul of our trip, our not park trip. And then last episode, you were so great to share about your Orlando / a little bit of Disney / flying in and out of Tampa.
Yeah, it was
trip.
wild for sure.
Yes, and I still have my margarita wish when I come to visit and we do an in-person recording. I'm actually really excited about that.
Can't
All
wait.
right. But this was our family's first split stay, and the first place we stayed, of course, was Coronado Springs. We were there for 3 nights. I feel like I can give a legit overview of that resort.
Sure, yeah.
And the last night we snuck over to Animal Kingdom Lodge for our very first DVC night at Walt Disney World. But we were only there for 1 night, so I'll share what I learned, and then with the caveat that, of course, having only been there for 1 night, it wasn't a whole big deal. But before we get started on the Coronado Springs, I did want to ask a little bit. So a lot of folks decide they're going to do an on-property moderate resort, right? And then oftentimes there is sort of a coin flip here between Coronado Springs and Caribbean Beach. And you and Kim stayed at Caribbean, right? You guys stayed at Caribbean Beach back in the day?
Yeah. Back in the day is a definite fair statement. It was 2007. It was our first week-long trip. We had gone earlier that summer for a weekend, and we were like, what is this? This place is so magical as adults.
That's right. It was without kids.
I know. It was amazing. That was 3 years prior to kids. So we were still a ways off. And so we went and in June and then went back in September. That's how much we loved that weekend. So by September, we were back and stayed a full week at Caribbean Beach. Did the free meal plan. And that was back, it really wasn't a challenging decision for me. Because I feel like back then, 2007, it was still, that was 10, 13 years ago. Is that what it was now? Something like that? Yeah. Probably more than that. 17? Yeah. It was, a lot. Anyway, I feel like it was probably $150 a night. So it was no different than your typical hotel that you would go anywhere else. And so, and we had it was way back in the day when you they would do the meal plan pretty regularly. And because we were staying at a moderate, we could do the 2 quick service and 1 sit down. So that was where I,
That's
and that was
amazing.
$500 a person, I feel like. And so we were like,
right.
duh.
Oh, yeah.
It was challenging. We did a lot of buffets because it was just hard to get reservations because, everybody was on that free dining plan.
That was such a short window. Yeah.
Yeah. And we also, I did have the best steak I've ever had in my life on that trip at Le Cellier. And so we ate kings because it was included, but the tip was because the tip is obviously not included.
Yeah,
the tip was over $60, so we ate like a champ. But we also went to this other place that I'd never experienced before. It was all right. Ohana Polynesian.
Oh yeah. Well, that's funny you mentioned that because I don't think you've ever mentioned it in every single episode.
No, not every single, but almost every single episode. And then basically any country that we reimagineer in the World Showcase is going to include some version of Ohana. So yeah. Awesome. Anyway, yeah. So I've never been at Coronado Springs.
Oh, yeah. So I had not been either, and frankly, I sort of think eventually I'd like to stay at all the resorts. I just think that would be really fun. And Coronado.
Do you need somebody to hold your bags for all of those trips? Maybe. Drive you around? Whatever.
You have to plan in advance and stay a while. Can you handle that? I don't think so.
Okay, maybe.
So actually, the reason I picked this resort for that trip, of course, is we did not do any of the 4 theme parks. We did one day at Blizzard Beach.
That's right.
But I thought, where would we want to stay that has notoriously difficult transportation to the parks? And Coronado Springs came up. So I was like, oh, let's stay there. And we had stayed at the French Quarter, so I knew sort of what a moderate resort, the size of the room. But the French Quarter and Coronado Springs are very, 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 very different. Quick rundown on the Coronado Springs has 3 sort of neighborhoods, and those are, I'm going to say, similar buildings to what you would find at French Quarter. They're designed in completely different architecture, but they are either 2 or 3 level external entrance, sort of long buildings with multiple rooms. So
do they have elevators, I guess they have to. It's Disney.
They do, but some of them don't. So if you need an accessible room, you need to make sure that you make a note of that on the reservation.
That is good to know.
Yeah. Or just have a floor. We had a first floor room, which ended up being amazing. But in 2019, they opened the Grandestino Tower, which for all intents and purposes functions exactly like a deluxe hotel. This to me is one of the, you guys see my little pal there?
I heard I was like, did someone knock over some boxes? And then I saw a cat enter the frame. Perfect.
Yes, we have sister cats who like to run around and chase each other.
They just like being on camera.
Literally during podcast recording.
Wherever mom is at, that's where they got to be.
You got it right. Okay, Grandestino Tower. So basically, Grandestino Tower functions like a deluxe resort at a moderate price. And this is super important. We did not end up staying. That was not where our room was, but that was where the lobby was. We had to run in there during a storm. It is breathtakingly beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah, it is pretty amazing. And then there's an enormous lake. It's called Lago Dorado, that all of these 3 neighborhoods and, oh my gosh, sorry. All of the 3 neighborhoods in the tower are around. Now, Coronado Springs being the exact opposite of Port Orleans French Quarter, which has my heart. Port Orleans French Quarter is the smallest moderate resort. Coronado Springs is the largest. It's enormous. And connected to the Grandestino Tower is a huge convention center.
Okay. That makes sense.
So there's a lot of, actually, my kids were really excited because that's where the NBA played all of their games. They built out courts.
At Grandestino?
Yeah, they were both
they
had practice at Grandestino, and they also played over at the ESPN, to my knowledge. But anyway, so I guess the other caveat for our experience there too is because of COVID, there weren't conventions happening.
Right.
So all of the people we came across were all vacationers with with Walt Disney World. And so I think it is important to note that if you choose to have a family vacation there during normal times, there could be businesses that are having conventions there. There could be other things. So there could also be people hanging around the resort that aren't sort of your typical Walt Disney World family vacation. But the one thing that I think they did this in 2019 when they opened the tower is they built a bridge. It's called it has like 3 legs, like a tri-bridge with this gorgeous restaurant, open air restaurant in the middle called 3 Bridges Bar and Grill. And what I love about that is for the folks who are in a standard view, regular old room, which before these bridges, I cannot imagine how far it would have taken you to walk to a lot of the dining. It's much quicker to sort of zip on these on the bridges to get to sort of anywhere. So for us, we ended up when looking on the map at a place that was relatively far away from the main tower, most of the restaurants. But I posted this on Instagram where I filmed a video of us walking out of our room and walking down the hall, and the foot of the bridge was right there. It was an incredible location.
Wow.
Even though it was sort of far from technically everything else, you just walked across the bridge and there you were. So it's kind of a tricky place to,
Let me ask a question about that. So were you legit far away, or because of the bridge, that makes the resort now feel or seem, or makes the footprint of where you want to go to get close to restaurants, lobby, whatever, closer because of the bridge? I'm a little, because I've never been there, so I'm a little lost.
Exactly right. Yeah. Otherwise, you'd have to sort of walk all the way around through the neighborhood, and I'm sort of calling these neighborhoods because they're three kind of distinct villages of buildings. So it would have taken a significantly longer amount of time to sort of go around the perimeter of the lake. But instead, we just walked onto the bridge, crossed the little body of water, and walked right into, the building that had most of the restaurants. It was awesome.
Wow.
And it was also easy. We let our two boys, our 9 and 11, we let them take their refillable mugs. It was just easy for them to navigate. Like, I just crossed the bridge, as opposed to like sending them, around, which would have been a little bit more of a tricky kind of meandering way to get there. So all I'm saying is, even though it's a really large resort, and even if you end up being in a casitas room, which is where we were, that sounds like it could be far, or even the ranchos, I think the bridges make a huge difference, and I wouldn't be scared of staying in those buildings that are kind of on the opposite side of the lake, because with the bridges, you can navigate across them really quickly.
Well, I will say, if you've ever stayed at a, it's even the same one thing with Art of Animation, but have you ever stayed at a value resort?
Right.
Like, unless you're in the first two buildings, it's a country mile. And because there are no bus stops, I mean, you got to go to the front to everything. And so if you're staying way in the back, it's just, it's not, it's like a 5-minute walk, but it's definitely nothing convenient about it unless you pay a little bit more money for those first two buildings on the left and right. You walk out of the food area, front building lobby area, and you're looking at the main pool. There'll always be two buildings, and you'll see another set of buildings, and you see a third. I think they only have 3 sets, maybe 4, but then you get like pop, and that's even that's just sprawled out even crazier. But you're right. These resorts, it is nice, right? There's definitely an advantage to the way Disney typically themes, even if it's not like super like Disney character themed like your values. They still like, it's just not this giant 3 football field long building that's 12 stories high and there's all the rooms. So there is a cool, I like that they do at least theme it to that. And of course they theme it to the theme of the resort, whether it has any Disney characters or not. But it's funny that we say that, because I think Disney are just realizing that that's what people want. Like, people go to Disney. Yes. It hasn't the deluxe or the moderate have not kept me from going to them because they're not Disney character theme. It's usually dollar signs that keeps me from going.
For sure.
But I will say this, they're starting, there's a trend where things are changing, right? We know that the Poly is either just opened or getting ready to open, and it's completely been redone to Moana. And then they just showed, 3-4 weeks ago that they're going to switch over the Contemporary to the Incredibles. So
those rooms look
Okay, that's coming. So if you want that Disney feel, they're starting to sprinkle it in their deluxe resorts.
That is a very good point. Yeah. No.
All right, what's next?
Exactly. Okay, food. So
that's a good place. I like right there. Do they have an Ohana?
They do not have an Ohana. Although one might wonder, there are 10 restaurants and lounges at this moderate resort. So for those of us who Again.
I have to stop you right there. You know how like when Disney opened Disneyland and he watched people and like what they did with their trash.
Oh yeah.
And then he figured it was like 30 something paces, 33 paces. 30,
yeah.
And so so what you're telling me is that at that resort, every 33 steps, there's a bar.
There's another. That's right. Almost. I mean, I do think they have these like if you have to go to Walt Disney World and sit through a convention, I mean, you're going to need some place to have some,
You got a good point there. Just gotta be
honest. At the end of your day, I couldn't imagine having to do work that close to Walt Disney. Like,
but then you've got a flip side of the coin where somebody's like, our company really did a getaway thing at Disney and they hate Disney. So it's like,
that's true.
Pick your side of the coin, right?
That's true. Yeah. So I think I mentioned this in my episode a couple of weeks ago, that there was still some COVID restrictions. So on food, like the quick service was basically grab and go. They didn't have kind of the stations that they normally would, the grill and the pizza and the whatever. They had a lot of food, but it was still a little bit different. We ate at only 2 of the 10. Sorry. We also ate, of course, other places across Walt Disney World. We ate at Siestas, which was the pool bar, more than once, which was really great. They have their menu at the pool bar. I couldn't believe it. I was really expecting sort of finger food sorts of things, and they had these fish tacos, which were incredible. And and then we ate at the quick service, mostly just snacks in the afternoon after we had done our sort of fun activities for the day. But before we went off to dinner, they had this incredible queso. So we literally just like kept grabbing the grab and go of like the chips and queso. It was so good. But there's a gorgeous called Dahlia Lounge, which is on the top floor of the Gran Destino Tower. And apparently, if you look and you know where you're looking, you can see almost all of the parks.
Oh, wow.
Including Blizzard Beach, but you can see Galaxy's Edge, and at night you can see Galaxy's Edge like lit up at night. So that's, I don't know that it's a super, I mean, I'm sure you could take your kids and it would be fine, but we opted not to do that. But if you happen to be at a grown-up trip, I totally recommend.
And maybe bring binoculars, or is it?
Yeah. I mean, I think you can see the outline, but totally, if you brought binoculars, I think that would be even cooler.
You'd be like, wow, look, there's the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah.
Falcon? Falcon? I don't know. I should know.
Falcon. Falcon?
I don't know.
I think it's Falcon.
Here comes the hate mail.
All right. What did you say last time? Email Dave at Dave.
That's right. It's Audrey at...
That's so funny. Okay, things to do. Oh my gosh, this episode was supposed to be short and we haven't even gotten.
Okay, go.
Things to do. Pools, right? So huge, beautiful, gigantic main pool with a fantastic slide. The slide was super good. And then, of course, they had quiet pools. I think 2 or even 3 other quiet pools. We spent quite a bit of time doing ping pong. We went to the arcade. Again, I think those are mostly the same kinds of amenities that you're going to find at value or deluxe resorts and deluxe villas. So I don't know that the amenities in that sense were anything unusual.
Okay.
But they were fun, and we had a good time. And it was actually, I said this before. Oh my gosh, y'all, seriously.
Cat life. Tell your friends.
They're trying to like sabotage. I will not let them. We are holding strong. We will keep going. It was nice, because we weren't rushing off to the parks. We really were able to enjoy the amenities, which was fun. The boys especially had a really good time in the arcade. I have this video of one of my kids playing. What's Guitar Hero?
Yes.
Just totally jamming out. It was really hilarious.
Too fun.
Parking and transportation. So this is the reason we're staying here, is because transportation is terrible. We've heard blah, blah, blah.
Because you brought your own vehicle, correct?
We drove. Yes.
Okay.
So we drove, and let me tell you how fantastic it is to be able to park your car
right
behind where you are staying. I'm telling
you, I don't ever go to Disney without renting a car.
Oh my gosh. It was incredible. Anytime we wanted to go somewhere, we didn't have to, I mean, and I will get to this when we get to Animal Kingdom Lodge, for moderate resorts, and you can tell me, I think this is mostly the case with a lot of the value resorts too, is you can park so close to your rooms.
Yeah.
At a place like Animal Kingdom Lodge, you're parking there and you're going into the lobby and then you're walking miles and miles down a hallway.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question about parking.
Yeah.
Did you have to pay the daily fee?
We did, because this was a cash reservation, not using DVC points. So we did. And we don't have annual passes because they're not selling.
Well, no. That has nothing to do with it. So now if you bring your personal vehicle and you are on property, they have adopted, it was about a year before COVID, maybe a little longer.
Yeah.
That everybody is now they had, I think it was like $13, $12 a night at value, and then went up to a little bit more, like maybe closer to 20 for, well, you'll know, what did you pay per night?
I think it was 15 a night.
Yeah. And then it's right? 20 plus 20-ish with 20. The deluxe maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there's interesting, because you said, well, you called it cash. Okay. Did you guys check in at the lobby, or did you do like the no touch check-in?
We did mobile check-in. But then we got like not just rained on because we went to the pool and then we got stormed on. So we were trying to find a safe place to go. and then we went to the lobby and they gave us our room. So we kind of did both.
Okay, because why I ask, and I'm not trying to tell anybody to buck the system, but I have heard that with this COVID time period, that when people doing these mobile check-ins, like they'll leave and they never got charged for their car. And so that's why I was asking. I was curious to know if you did, because if you don't go to the lobby and check in and say, yeah, we have a vehicle, here's our license plate, how would they
we didn't even tell them that. I wonder that's a really good question.
I mean, you don't have to have anything to say your parking.
I don't remember if I put it in the, I don't know where I would have told them otherwise that we had a car. That's a really good question.
I mean,
they
know. I mean, they just know, I guess.
They know.
So I was just curious.
Say, we were also very close to a bus. We did not use any of the buses, so I can't speak to,
was this a bus stop, like multiple stops across this
so
property?
There are lots of stops around the property. I should look, maybe 4 or 5 at least. And so depending on where you are, there's a risk of the bus being full, especially COVID, although those restrictions have ended, thankfully. But you're going to make the loop all the way around, either going or coming. So if, I feel like we were like sort of at 6:00. If you come into at Grand Casino Towers sort of at noon on a clock, we were literally on the other side. So that's actually not a terrible place to be, assuming the buses come in and out of that main entrance, so that you only have half of the
you're in the middle
resort to sort of go before and half coming back. So that might be a little bit of a transportation hack. And then generally, I would say about location, I would give it about a C. It was super close to Blizzard Beach. It was super close to, they call it a Animal Kingdom Lodge kind of area.
Right.
But it's really not close to.
It's right down the street from that, like the world's biggest McDonald's, right?
It is. It is. Yeah. We actually snagged breakfast there.
Oh yeah, man. We've eaten there. Like that place is enormous.
It is pretty incredible. Yeah. But generally speaking, I was totally impressed with this resort. I think this was one of those where expectations were relatively low, and it was stunningly beautiful. The lights on the tower at night, the fountains are lit up. The Three Bridges Bar and Grill has its own lights. I mean, it truly was a magical place, and I would absolutely recommend families. This is not going to be a place if families of 5. They don't have that 5th sleeper. If you want to figure out how to get a deluxe resort experience at a moderate price, look at those rooms in Grand Destino Tower. It is so elegant. That tower is stunning. It really is beautiful.
So when you say moderate price, what are the prices that are currently for the tower? And is there different room level?
There's a different price for tower rooms. I'm guessing we are close to the $250 range. I think we may have paid there's a price difference now that is more than there used to be between Coronado Springs and Caribbean Beach. Those were really the coin flip. Skyliner has increased the price at Caribbean Beach. My hunch is the Destino Tower rooms are going to run more comparable to Caribbean Beach, and you're going to get a little bit of a discount on sort of the standard view regular rooms at Coronado Springs. So they're definitely more expensive than the value, but they're not off the charts. And it is a gorgeous resort. I mean, truly, it's beautiful.
It's like a southwesterny feel, right?
It is. Yeah.
That's what, so it's fun. It's interesting to hear you say that, because I've only seen it as you drive by and we're heading to go devour McDonald's, or we were heading to, I think at the end of that road is also the All-Stars, I think. Yeah. Cause just past the McDonald's is the entrance to the All-Star Resort.
Yep.
So we've stayed there plenty of times, but every time I've looked at it, I'm all just it just looks like sandstone Pueblo buildings.
Kind of it's sort of deserty and kind of.
So I'm kind of meh.
Yeah, I know.
But you loved
really, it. Though. It's beautiful. Yeah, it really is.
Can I circle back to the vehicle thing?
Yes.
Okay, I have some news, and I don't know if I would call it a travel hack or a vehicle hack, but the world that we're living in post-COVID, especially, I don't think this is going to last forever by any chance of the. And wait, can I go back? We are not post-COVID. That was an unfair statement. But where we were 12 months ago to where we are now, you can walk around Disney World and don't have to wear masks anywhere.
Right.
You get what I'm saying. But obviously that was one of those businesses that was decimated. So right now to rent a vehicle, an economy is ridiculous. And so we're going for the 50th. Now we're staying on property, so we don't technically need one, but it has been very difficult for me to just be I'm just going to be at the whim of your. Now, if we were staying at the Pop, which we're trying very, very hard to move ours to the Pop, they're just either it is legitimately full or they haven't opened more rooms. Yeah. But I have not been lucky at all. If we stay there, Brandon and Krista will be staying there and they're local, so we'll be able to just ride with them when we want to go anywhere. But we made a jump this past week. So have you ever heard of Turo?
No.
So Turo is basically a car
is
sharing
this
network.
Airbnb for cars?
Yes.
Yes.
So now they have luxury cars on there. It's just people that own cars.
Oh my gosh.
Put it up there for you, right?
Yes.
So we actually, here's my hack that we did. Well, we're going to give it a whirl. I cannot rate it until after we do it.
Right.
But we got an electric vehicle. It was not a Tesla. Trust me, I looked, but they were $820 for 7 days. So I was like, nope, that's not anywhere near affordable. We found a 2020 Nissan Leaf, or no, it was the Chevy Bolt.
Okay.
For $416. So Matthew is doing it with me. So that's $208 a person.
You're splitting it.
And we have it for 7 days. Now, here was the reason why I was being kind of particular about if we get an electric vehicle and we get to the parks early enough, they have electric things all the way at the front of parking.
Oh my gosh. You really
So little travel hack. Now, obviously, that's not a vehicle big enough for a full family.
Right.
But if you're going as a couple or even just have two smaller kids, I mean, obviously it's 4-door. So, give it a whirl. I have no idea. I mean, I looked, this guy had 8 ratings. He responded pretty quickly. It's really rad, especially with these kind. There is a delivery fee, which was $50, which is a little bit more. But why that's great is it'll be in a lot at the airport that he'll say, hey, it's in this lot, and you can go there. And what is excellent is because it's an electric car, he can unlock that car anywhere in the world with his app. So the keys will just be in there and he'll just
amazing.
Unlock it. But anyway, like they had like Fiats and Ford Fusions, and I mean they have normal regular cars. But why we want to do that? I was like, hey, it's like it was literally no different. And I was like, if we can get, now they only have like 3 or 4 spots with plug-ins at the parks, but if you get there early enough, bro,
oh my gosh,
saving that half a mile of walking. Just saying.
That is so
Daddy's
smart.
not getting any skinnier.
Maybe you don't need that.
Preach. Okay, sorry. I sidestepped us again.
That is such a great hack, and I can't wait to hear how it goes.
And I mean, you're talking like I don't think we found a like Ford Festiva, right, or a Toyota Yaris for less than $560.
Yeah.
We're saving $120, and we don't have to pay for fuel. We don't have to refill it.
Oh my gosh, that is so great.
Just saying.
That's awesome. All right. Okay. Speaking of cars, this was one of my, I sort of alluded to this when I was talking about parking at Coronado Springs, but one of the things we were not at all prepared for. And because we had our car, we didn't have to be super strategic on packing. And like, I think we probably were hauling more stuff than we needed to into our room at Animal Kingdom Lodge for just one night, but we started feeling it. But before I get to parking, you guys, okay. And if you're listening to this podcast, you like Disney, you've probably been on the YouTube or seen the pictures. There is nothing that compares to walking into the lobby at Jambo House. I mean,
it's beast.
It is unbelievable. And even if you've seen the videos, even if you've seen the photos of this magnificent place, I mean, there truly is just nothing. Going through those doors and walking into this space is just incredible.
When we went in 2007 and we did the buffet there, I can't think of a name of it.
Chico?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
We walked into the lobby and it was literally, if you're watching YouTube, this will be a whole lot better, but I literally stopped. We walked in the door. I grabbed her hand and we were like,
totally.
Because it's so, I mean, you just have to look up. It is gargantuan and it's breathtaking.
It is. And there's so many things to look. It is like a museum, truly.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It is worth walking around. And we were there before it officially opened. They had one floor that is DVC rooms, and that's where we were. So it was a little bit dark, a little bit empty. They didn't have the activities that they usually do, which I would love to go back and experience some of those. But even without those sort of other sensory experiences, it really was just remarkable. Because we splurged a little bit. This was our first DVC room. We did a 1-bedroom Savannah view. And I think because of where the 1-bedrooms are on the DVC hallway, they're just so. For those of you who aren't watching YouTube, Jambo House has sort of one set of rooms, and then they have this, it's basically like a half circle, and it just extends these huge hallways that extend way out into the Savannah. And I think our 1-bedroom was maybe the second to the last room. At the end of one of those hallways, we were laughing. We got the giggles because we were walking, and I can't quite remember our room number, but it was like we had 200 rooms to pass. We didn't know that like the hallway sort of forked at one point, so like it reduced it by like 100, whatever it was. And we were like, we're literally never going to get there. We're just never going to get there. And then it was like, oh, look, we're almost there. It was great. It was pretty funny. But I will say we had just been so spoiled to have our room, our car right outside our room. If we needed anything, we just hopped back. And so if you guys are staying in Jambo House, that's my one sort of thing is whatever you need in your car, be thoughtful about making sure you get it out the first time. And
pay attention to forks in the road.
Yes. And pay attention to your room is probably not as far as you think it is. There is a point at which the numbers go much quicker.
That's hilarious.
And I will say about our room, if if either my husband or I had any sort of lingering, was this the right thing to do about DVC the minute we crossed that threshold into that villa. I mean, it was pretty spectacular. And it just confirmed for us that this was the right thing to do for our family. And that was really
how
fun.
big was this? Was this a like suite or?
This was a 1-bedroom. So it had 1 bedroom with a king size bed. And then in the hallway was laundry. And then it had 1 huge bathroom. And then in the living room, this one, which I actually loved because the boys didn't have to share a bed, they had the queen size pull out sofa, but then they had that chair, the chair that kind of pulls out into a single bed. So it sleeps 5. But the boys our littlest used the little chair pull-out bed, and then our oldest used the couch pull-out bed. And then and this was one thing, again, like we were doing nothing. We got there, the room was ready about 2:00. We sat out and watched the animals. We did get down to the pool. It did have the full kitchen. And so for dinner, what we decided to do was get takeout from Sanaa and bring it back. And then, we just ate with our plates and utensils. And my mom's sister, greatest Aunt Sandy, and my Uncle Scott came. It was really great.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. The food, Sanaa's incredible. We couldn't, nothing was open in Jumbo House. So we had to go down to, oh my gosh, the name of the other village just flew out of my head.
Wish I could help you.
Jumbo House, and I can't remember it.
The other village.
The other village, which is almost all DVC rooms, is where Sanaa went. Sanaa is. So we went there to pick up supper and bring it back. As far as amenities go, come on, you guys. And even if you aren't in a Savannah room, I was surprised at how many animals you could see from the lobby and walking around by the pool. There weren't a ton of people at Jumbo House. And so I think the cast members were really excited to see folks. And so there was this flock of flamingos just outside of the pool gate. And we stopped and watched for a while. And the sweet cast member was like, filling us in on all the flamingo information. Our youngest is a huge animal lover, and so that was a huge highlight for us.
Oh, very cool.
But I think if you can't afford the Savannah view, I would just say, I don't think that's a problem. You are going to get a lot of experiences. Yes, you will get to see animals, giraffes. They're everywhere. And I don't know that I expected it to be that prolific from the lobby area. But Kidani, that's the other village. Yep. I knew I would remember. Perfect. And they have different animals there. So if you go, like when we were waiting for our food at Sanaa, we just stood by the windows and watched the animals. It was really cool. The boys swam in both the Jumbo House pool and the Kidani pool. One Jumbo House was the day we checked in. Kidani pool was the next morning. Both of them are gorgeous. They're quite different. Jumbo House is larger, but this is the other thing about Disney. Have you started listening, as a sidebar here, have you watched any of the episodes of Behind the Attractions?
Yes, but only the first one.
Yeah, me too. But I had heard this before, but sort of the landscape architect that they brought, it actually reminded me of Animal Kingdom Lodge. Like the landscaping is its own thing.
Wow.
And being in the pool surrounded by these bushes and trees, and it's really incredible.
Did it feel exotic?
Totally. There was a banana tree with like bananas just hanging out by the pool. I was like, dudes, that's a banana tree. That's on it. It was awesome. Yeah. So I would say, again, I can't speak to transportation to and from the parks. This is another one where buses are exclusive. Location, I would give it the same grade as Coronado Springs. It's definitely, you are out and I think when I didn't quite realize is actually you are past Animal Kingdom to get to Animal Kingdom Lodge. So it is really its own place on property. Now, is it worth being there? Heck yeah. It is unbelievable, its own experience. But if you're a rope drop to park close kind of person, and you're not going to be spending a lot of time at the resort, I'm not sure this is the place you want to stay.
Yeah,
but if
I would
you're
agree.
there and you want to have some resort time, I mean, it's really a remarkable place.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It was beautiful, but we went at night. I mean, that was,
open.
our dinner reservation was at night, so we didn't get to see out the back or through the lobby and out to see all of the, animals on the savannah. So we didn't get to experience any of that. But the resort was just wow.
Yeah, if you're going to sneak over from Animal Kingdom for a meal and want to see some of those animals, that's a good point to make sure you're not going to do it after sundown.
Yeah. In the summer, most of the time you'll be okay unless you have a 9 o'clock reservation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So I think that's it. That's my sort of review of both Coronado and Animal Kingdom Lodge.
I learned a lot because I haven't been to these places.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we're going to wrap it up because that ended up being long. Thank you all for putting up with my sweet cats who were knocking things over. Now they are completely calm and asleep on the sofa over there.
Done.
Can you I know. They have harassed us enough and now
I love it.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys in a couple weeks with another episode. I think we're going to talk about plans for our next trips.
Yes.
Where we are. And, oh my gosh, the 50th medallion went on Cinderella Castle this week. I'm getting I just keep refreshing the shop.disney.com because I want some 50th anniversary merch.
Why do you want that merch?
I want to be iridescent.
Oh, okay. Thanks for helping me set that up. I appreciate it. You did well.
You threw that ball and I.
Yeah, we've been watching. I mean, it's also like, we talked about on ADP this week, just the excitement of, I don't want to say a lot of shows are opening in the next 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Like Monsters Inc. is coming back. Beauty and the Beast is coming back. Still nothing on what's it? Hollywood Studios. I don't know. I'm trying. Fantasmic, but it's a huge production with a lot of people. They're probably still hiring. But yeah, I'm excited to see like more of that because it eats up people, right? I mean, that's what that's what they need. Like they can't afford.
That's a really good point. Yeah.
Getting close to the 50th, like they really need these things that eat up bodies.
That's totally true.
So yeah, I'm excited to talk about the 50th. It's getting. Oh, we discovered that we're almost to single digits in weeks. So this week it was like 10 weeks to the 50th. So it will be here before you know it.
Oh my gosh,
it's insane, right? Yeah. I
am so excited.
By the time this comes out, it'll be 9 weeks.
That's right.
Boom.
Oh my gosh. All right. More soon.
I know our you know what? I do have to say one thing. Our shows would probably be shorter if we talked more in between shows because this is like where we catch up and hang out and talk about Disney.
I know. You guys, this is legit live conversations that we have here.
I know. You do a great job planning and sending all the notes. Like that is
That's true.
You're killing it there. But like we have to it's like, hey, how are you? How's the family? Like we have to do all of the like real life friend stuff. And like I love it.
Totally true.
So I know as everybody else is like.
I know.
But it's fun for us.
Turned it off a while ago, but that's okay.
We don't do it for you people.
That's right. This is our game.
We do.
It's all for them.
Okay, thanks, Aud. We'll see you soon.
All right. Bye.
Later.